Okay, well, here's another part to the show. Whoops. I hit a wrong button. Did I say I don't know how to edit? I don't know how to paste either. So, and I have no income to pay a wonderful editor, film editor, whatever. When I get to that point, trust me, it's going to be one of the most wonderful things ever. But what I did want to do, sorry about that, is I wanted to share what I am learning. Because as a widow, I can only imagine that there are others out there suffering from grief, loss, challenges in health, just all sorts of stuff, And that's what I've developed the show about, is to help those who are suffering from these different health issues and how it can impact other health issues like fibromyalgia, like mental health, like depression, all sorts of stuff. So anyhow, now I'm going to go to the second part of the segment, okay? And that is that I was talking about how I'm really trying to figure out where I'm at, who I'm all about again. Now, I don't know if you saw me last episode, but I shared about how I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be in theater when I was little. I love dance, I love drama, I love singing, I love all of that stuff, all entertainment. I enjoyed crocheting, and I've recently learned that my mom knew how to knit, and I never knew, and she said she doesn't know how to crochet, and I said, you most certainly do, because she taught me. So, anyhow, needless to say, so I found that I enjoy crocheting and knitting as well. But I didn't understand this Never-Never-Land concept that my family had placed on me, especially on my uncle, and I really felt poo-pooed, so to speak, like you're in the wrong to be thinking this. But basically living in a Never-Never-Land about arts, television, entertainment, and saying that you're not going to make it as a star. Well, you have to start somewhere. When I was young, I started and I worked in theater as well as in TV. Now, mind you, in TV it wasn't live. It was all edited and fixed up. Theater is live. You cannot take back what has gone out. And I've learned throughout my years of studying and writing. I've actually written some screenplays. And honestly, I can say that I'm not one for live theater. I applaud anybody who enjoys to be on stage in live theater. Can I do it? Yes. Do I like to? No. And the reason why is because it is so impromptu. It is right in the moment. You can't go back and say, oh, let's do over or anything like that. I'd rather see the bloopers. I think that part is funny and shows the true nature. That's part of why I'm enjoying creating this show, is because you're getting the raw footage, baby. There ain't nothing about it. Because I can't fix those things. Not because I don't want to. It's because I don't know how to. And that's where I have to say a fine line is that not only do I not know how to, I really don't want to. Because that's not my cup of tea. And that's kind of this process that I'm going through. And what I pointed out earlier was a letter from hospice. Okay. My late husband passed on the 11th of January, and I've been really working on the process, which has brought this show together, in fact. And it's a very impromptu, very real, raw show. Okay. And I know that a typical season is 22 episodes. And this might end up being like that. I am not going to say absolutely, I'm not going to do that to myself, and I'm not going to do that to you, the viewer, because my whole point is a healing process at the same time, and not necessarily for myself, but for others who are in the similar situation. I don't want to put boundaries. So what I have realized, though, is that I still enjoy writing, even though I haven't been able to lately, and that I mentioned before foundation in my husband's behalf. And I just came to me today to put like 10% of all sales and proceeds towards this funding. And the funding is meant to go to help research on the brain. And I'm going to be bringing that up in a later episode of the show, only because I'll have the paper documents so that I can share and actually have the medical. I'm not medical. I love medical. Don't get me wrong. I love medical. I love medical shows. I love all of that stuff. I really do. I enjoy it quite a bit. But to be honest, I don't want to be talking off the top of my head, which right now I kind of would. But we have an idea of what happened to my husband, and that's what I want to share with others. And not only from the grieving of the family left behind after the passing, but also for the person who's suffering from these challenges. So, anyhow, without further ado, I'm going to read this here. We wanted to let you know that our team continues to think of you as you journey through this difficult time. Please know that this is normal to experience. I'm reaching out to let you know we are still here to assist in any way that we can during your time of grief. The first few months after the death of a loved one are typically very difficult and may feel like a roller coaster of emotions. These emotions can include, but are not limited to, sadness, guilt, loneliness, shock, and anger. You may also be experiencing difficulty concentrating, changes in sleep patterns, a marked change in appetite, and crying at unexpected times. Again, please know that all of these emotions and behaviors are normal when coping with grief, and that grief affects every person differently. You might find that you are tempted to shut down emotionally and want to avoid your grief altogether. Grief, however, is an important part of healing from a loss. It is a process by which we say goodbye to a loved one. Allow the pain to go through us while also remembering and honoring our relationship with the deceased. If we choose to put it off or deny it, we might experience unresolved grief in the future. Although these feelings are a normal part of the grief process, please reach out to us if you feel you are struggling with the loss of your husband. We also want to remind you to please be patient with yourself. Coping with grief takes time, and there is no specific timeline for when you will start to feel better. We encourage you to take it one day at a time so as not to become overwhelmed. We also encourage you to practice self-care. Talk or write about your loss. Do something special for yourself or someone else. Explore a new interest or hobby and give yourself permission to take time off from your grief. Remember that caring for yourself is a necessary part of the healing process and is not something to feel guilt or shame about. Please know we will continue to be available to you for guidance and support as you navigate your grief journey. And the reason why I feel this is so important to share is simple. It's because when I read this, it was like an attempt to say you're okay for how you feel. And what do I mean by this? It's simply that, well, I don't know if you could tell last week, but I was really having a lot of sorrow, feeling a lot of issues. And it was more like the way that I was feeling almost attacked by family and friends, which I'm going to get to as well in this. And I realized after reading this, I brought it to my family's attention and explained that I'm doing something special for myself. I get my nails done, but what I like in the process of getting my nails done, I go a long journey to get my nails done. People are like, oh my gosh, and part of me feels kind of guilty, but then I thought about it yesterday when I got my nails done again. One, I know the tech who does my nails, and I love her to pieces. She understands me very well, and I understand her. We understand the mental and emotional health. She knew my late husband. She knows the process. She gets it. And as I talked with her, I was still feeling kind of guilt because I'm struggling for everything I can to get income to pay for all of my bills. But for as much as she doesn't charge a lot, in fact, I think she may charge less than the people here in Portland, Oregon. I go down to Salem where my late husband and I used to live together, and I talked with her a great deal. Said I don't have my navigation person because he was the one who navigated everything over there. Okay, I didn't know how to. I was like, oh Lord, thank God for Google Maps because I'm in trouble. So what I found is that she's helping me. Because she'll come back, she'll say, well, have you gotten this done? Have you gotten that done? Have you, reminding me of all of the things that I had said that I was going to accomplish. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Some of them I had, like the candle making. I said, yes, I did. And I learned that I'm just going to take all the stuff that I got for candle making. It's going to go in the estate sale. I'm going to sell it, It's better to get a little bit back from it and let somebody else enjoy it and really know what they're doing compared to me keeping it and having a big loss. Let somebody else enjoy it. So my next challenge is that the paper part, I found a dollhouse, and that I'm going to share later on because it's all in pieces and, well, yeah. What I explained to the family is that I want to work on making it into a 3D because right now it's all painted on the background. I've taken pictures of it. I'm going to do some video before and after. I took it apart because it's able to do that and then put it back together. Anyhow, so that's another part that goes with the newspaper part because the newspaper I'm going to be rolling it like I showed you with the bike trike earlier and going to see about making it into a 3D art piece. Okay, so that's something, this is again all a process because I was like, okay, so you practice self-care, talk or write about your loss. Well, that's part of what caused this show to come about, is that I needed to talk about the loss. But I thought, well, I can't be the only one who's having all of these feelings and all of these challenges. I just can't. And as a widow, I have had, I'm sorry, again, lighting issues, I'm still learning. I am learning how to, oh gosh, that's awful. Let's see here. Shadows. Anyhow, as I said, I'm still learning these things. So basically, I'm learning how to adjust one from another and how to navigate this newfound situation, which I do believe I saw the word navigate in here. Yeah, navigating through the loss, giving permission to take time off, giving permission and the healing process, and not feeling ashamed. And, there's been a moment where I felt like I caused the suffering. I caused his death. For a quick moment, I thought that. And I remember with my first late husband back in '09, I thought, quick moment, I caused it. I was like it's almost like a shaming. And I am so good at doing this, saying, it's my fault. It's my fault. Oh my God, what did I do? Well, this time I lovingly adore and get annoyed by my mother-in-law. I learned that even though my husband passed, we still have that connection. And as much as I love her and she annoys me, I adore her. And I think I may do the same with her. I don't know. But what I do know is that she was very candid with me when my husband passed, that she was hoping with his passing that it wouldn't cut us off. And I was like, absolutely not, not unless you want it to cut off. I'm totally game with it. But for this one particular time, I am so utmostly grateful. And ever since then, I have been so happy to have her by my side, because she said, Doug has always been into helping people. Oh my gosh. I was like, yeah, totally him. He would love to help, shirt off his back kind of help. Okay? So what happened is that she suggested donating his brain to science. I thought, that's going to cost money. Oh my gosh, that's going to cost so much money. Well, I'm glad that she suggested it. I'm glad we followed through with it. And I'm glad in general about it, because they made a discovery. And that's going to come in my next show. And the reason why is because I'm going to have the actual document in front of me to be able to share. And it's not actually going to be in the next show, because the appointment for the doctor to meet with the doctor who actually did the brain biopsy or brain autopsy is next Saturday. Not this Saturday. Maybe it is this Saturday. No, it is this Saturday. So anyhow, I'm going to be bringing it to you and sharing with you, because the results are absolutely astounding. That's why I want to do a fund in his name and help to encourage brain donation and helping to grow knowledge about these particular items. So, continuing on. Now, if you haven't noticed, I've moved the light like several times because it's driving me nuts and I'm horrible with it. But hey, I've reduced the shadows. Yes. Anyhow, so, saying goodbye, honoring, and the grieving process, I've been going through his stuff. Now, this is where it is, because I'm still discovering really what I'm desiring. It's fun, exploring a new interest or hobby, and give yourself permission to take time off from your grief and caring for yourself. And what I found is how real it is. Now, this is the one part that I really wanted to share, because this still came from the hospice people. Grief lasts far longer than our society may realize. Be patient with yourself. Each person's grief is unique, just as your relationship with your loved one was unique. You and your family may experience grief and cope with it differently. Crying is an acceptable and healthy expression of grief, even for men. It can serve as a release of tension and toxins from the body. Allow yourself to cry as you feel the need. Physical reactions to the death of a loved one may include loss of appetite or overeating, sleeplessness or sleeping all the time, headaches, etc. Grief, in many ways, is similar to a great amount of stress on your body. So grief may have similar physical impacts on you the way stress does. You may discover that you have little energy and concentrating on things becomes difficult. A balanced diet, rest, and moderate exercise can be helpful means of self-care. It may sound hard to do, but start small and gradually build up a routine of self-care. Avoid the use of alcohol and drugs. Medication should be taken sparingly and only under the supervision of your physician. Chemicals can actually hinder the needful process of grieving. Chemicals can mask your grief and make it harder than it needs to be. You may discover that certain friends and family relatives may be uncomfortable around you. They may want to ease your pain but not know how. Help them learn by giving them permission to talk about the death and loss. Whenever possible, reconsider making major decisions such as relocating, changing or quitting a job, etc., for about a year until you are thinking more clearly. Big decisions during a time of difficulty, such as grieving over the death of a loved one, may be made in haste and or for unhealthy reasons. Give yourself some time. Avoid making hasty decisions about your loved one's belongings. Do not allow others to rush you or take over. You can do this little by little whenever you feel ready. Remember, it is harder to retrieve something once you give it away. Grieving can be painful and life may seem empty on many days. But do not give up hope. We have found that over time and engagement in activities, the pain of grief lessens. Guilt, real or imagined, is a normal part of grief. It surfaces in thoughts and feelings of if only. Learn to express and share these feelings. Learn to tell your story of love and loss to those who will listen. Much courage to you. I thought this very important to share. I'm not going to go any further for the moment because this is quite a long show right now. I did a precursor, now here's the real thing, okay? So, anyhow, I didn't realize, but I was still dealing with the loss of my first husband when I got married to my second. But in a way, it was kind of a help of closure with my second because our relationship was very tense in our relationship because of a past order that caused me to feel very in servanthood. I felt very, I didn't feel very in control of my life. Anyhow, so my grieving process for that one was just to jump into something to help me to bring closure. I remember when my first late husband passed in '09, I was told, don't cry, you're not allowed to cry. No, don't cry. And so this time, when my second husband passed, I still had that playing in my ear. And ear in my head, and people kept, why are you not crying? Because it keeps going off in my head, don't cry. No, you need to cry. I can't. And so all of a sudden, it just started to come. And it needed to because the tension, the toxins and so on were building up and causing pain in the fibromyalgia. And it really does affect the fibromyalgia. Those who have fibromyalgia can really get what I'm saying here. Every day I'm still having to walk my wonderful service dog, who I introduced in my very first show. He's been sitting by me this whole time, very quiet and very calm, so I'm really thankful for that. Anyhow, people were always concerned at the very beginning, you gotta eat. I'm like, I am eating. I am. I'm not going to eat to the point that I'm going to throw up, because that's what I do. If I eat too much, I'm going to throw up. Just the way it is. But what I did notice, I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning as usual, took my Frankie out. My Frankie is my service dog. Take him out. Take him for a nice walk. Then I'd stay up and I'd do some more work, and I'd get ready to go out with my friends. I'd go out with them and I would go for a walk with them, and then I would come back home and I would start doing some more work, and then I would keep going. I would finally collapse maybe and take a nap for 2 hours, like 2 to 4 or something like that. Get back up and keep going, keep going, keep going, doing other work. Take him out for one last walk, and going and recycling, going and doing artwork, going and doing whatever, going and watching TV, going and spending time, and then up until 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, then going to sleep, passing out by this time, going to sleep, getting back up at 6 o'clock. Now, if you haven't figured that out, I am talking about 7 hours of sleep. Maybe. Now, honestly, for me, I need about 8 hours of sleep. Well, given the fact that I've been so short on sleep this year already because of staying up with my husband when he was in his final stages in January, I'm still catching up on the sleep. I'm still not there. I'm still working on it. And honestly, it's just a really big struggle. And it remains to be a big struggle. So it's not the eating, it's the sleeping. And I wouldn't take medication for it, even though I have medication for anxiety. I was like, no, because I'm not going to depend on medication. No. When in reality is, it's not a dependence on the medication, it's to help aid to rest. Because what I discovered, massive anxiety. It's why I couldn't sleep. But it took me a lot of processing through, talking it out. I realized I can't sleep because I'm so anxious about everything going on, the after effects, no life insurance policy, no income, not being able to function, anxiety because I see all these bills and no way to take care of them. I am not a true manic depressive. I have what's called psychotic disorder. And I do deal with reality painstakingly well. And the only problem is that I can get a little bit overzealous. But I'm noticing lately it's my voice. I get hyper and excited and I can't calm down. And it's a combination of that and ADHD. Either way, I'm in trouble. So anyways, and having energy and concentrating on things becomes difficult. Oh, yeah, just a little bit difficult, I'm all over the place. And right now it's called trying to find balance. And that's part of what the show is all about, is finding balance. And moderate exercise, which I'm doing the walking, and I consider that good enough, considering what I used to do, but he was here with me. So my goal is to get back to doing that full action. Anyhow, so my family has found it very uncomfortable for years to be around me, and I just, you know what, I've got to discover me before I worry about you guys. So, I did think about, the changing and the quitting of job. I didn't quit a job, but I am trying to find out who I am, what I'm all about, and what I really want. And I finally realized, even just before he passed, we knew this, that I don't want to have a job. Not in the traditional form where I have a boss. I can't function. I wouldn't function. Because I know exactly what I'm after, what I want, and how I need to do it. Kind of. That's what I'm working on. How to do it, kind of. Anyhow, so I'm trying not to make any major decisions. But in regards to getting rid of his things, I'm like, who is going to wear his clothes? They are not going to sit in my closet until God knows when. No. They can go and he would want it that way. So they're going in the estate sale. Same with his pool cues, his golf balls, some of the VHS, all of his different things that are like, I'm never going to have a true interest. There are a couple of things in there that he was very specific he wants me to do, because I'm going to leave you on this note. Okay, because I've been quite a bit on this particular episode, and if you guys are with me here, hey, way awesome. I'm going to tell you right now, I gave this lighter to my uncle. Now, I asked for it back. He's like, what? I said, I'm not asking because I want to keep it. Because quite the contrary, I don't want it to be an excuse for me to do something stupid called smoking. It'll make me very, vomit ill. Okay? I can barely stand being around people who smoke. It makes my stomach just, it's the chemicals involved in the cigarettes. It just, anyhow, I told him what I need it for, though, is for the plastic beads, because I put them over the heat. For the candles, that's it. Once I'm done with that, if I have decided that that's what's going to work for me, that's when I will invest in one. But I said I want to borrow this in his honor. But I told him, this is yours. I gave it to you. Because I knew that he smokes pipe. So, here. I don't need it. I don't need an excuse. Here, I want you. And so he understood the reason why I gave it to him, and the reason why I was going to... it's not mine anymore. It never really was. It belonged to him, and I'm passing it to somebody, and I know that my husband would really approve. So that's one of those decisions where it's like, at first I was like, oh my gosh, and when I read this, it's like, you know what, maybe I did go in haste, but then I thought about it, it's like, no, I didn't. I really didn't, because I know eventually it'll probably come back to me when the time is right. But right now is a time of helping me to experience, to find who I am. So I'd like for you to let me know, have you ever had any of these feelings? I know that some people have guilt, some people have grief, some people have all these different feelings. And the reason why I'm making these is to help others who are going through similar, and who may have mental health issues going through similar. And thank you so much for all of your patience and working with me. These 31, probably going to end up being 35 unintentionally, and I do apologize. Again, it's unscripted, completely unscripted reality. This is who I am, and thank you that you listened, and I hope that some of this may have helped. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Subscribe, and just, yeah, take it in pieces. If you think I should be taking these into pieces, let me know that too. Nothing that I do as of right now is being sponsored. There's no marketing involved. Everything I share is, that's it. It's the way it is. I'm not that good yet. I'm still learning, so learning in process, but I wanted to make sure that the word got out. Anyhow, until next week, take care, and this is the SCARLO Show.